Imagine stepping off a plane after a 10 or 12-hour flight. You should be excited. Your trip is finally beginning. But instead, your back is aching. Your legs feel stiff. Your mouth is dry. Your eyes are heavy. And somehow, you feel more exhausted than when you boarded. Most people blame the flight. Experienced flight attendants know better. Because after years of working long-haul routes, they've noticed something surprising. The passengers who arrive feeling the worst often make the same mistakes over and over again. Some board the plane already exhausted. Some choose seats that make the journey harder. Some wait too long to move. Others accidentally sabotage their own sleep without realizing it. And one of the biggest mistakes doesn't even happen in the air. It happens after the plane lands, when most travelers think the hard part is over. Today, we're counting down 12 things flight attendants want you to stop doing on long flights, and the simple changes that can help you arrive feeling more comfortable, more alert, and ready to enjoy your trip. And make sure you stay until number 1, because it's the mistake that quietly ruins the first day of travel for countless passengers every year. Before we begin, here's a quick question. What's the hardest part of a long flight for you? Is it trying to sleep? Dealing with stiff legs? Back pain? Dehydration? Or the dreaded jet lag that follows after landing? Let everyone know in the comments below. And if you enjoy travel tips, flight secrets, and practical advice that can make flying easier, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Now, let's get started. 12. Stop boarding without a personal flight kit. Here's a small mistake that can become surprisingly annoying once you're sitting on a packed airplane. You finally get settled, the overhead bins are closing, and suddenly you realize you need your glasses. Then your charger. Then your headphones. Then some water. Maybe your medication. But there's one problem. Your carry-on is already in the overhead bin. Now you're either trying to remember exactly where everything is, asking someone to help you, or reaching into the overhead compartment while other passengers are trying to board. A better strategy is to create a simple personal flight kit before you take your seat. Keep the things you'll realistically need during the flight within easy reach. Your phone, headphones, charger, glasses, water, essential medication, tissues, lip balm, and a light sweater or scarf if you tend to get cold. You don't need to bring more things. You just need to organize the important things better. Because on a long flight, small inconveniences can quickly become major annoyances. And the less often you need to reach into the overhead bin, the more comfortable and relaxed your flight can be. 11. Stop boarding already exhausted. Here's another mistake flight attendants can recognize almost immediately. A passenger arrives at the gate looking exhausted before the plane has even left the ground. Maybe they packed at midnight, woke up before sunrise, rushed to the airport, skipped breakfast, drank too much coffee, and hurried through security thinking, "I'll sleep on the plane." But an airplane isn't a bedroom. There are announcements, meal service, cabin lights, bathroom trips, turbulence, passengers moving around, and a seat that was never designed to replace your bed. So don't depend on the airplane to make up for sleep you sacrificed before boarding. Instead, make the night before your flight part of your travel preparation. Pack your essentials early. Prepare your travel documents. Get your clothes ready. And give yourself enough time to reach the airport without starting the journey in a panic. Because a long flight is demanding enough on its own. There's no reason to begin it already running on empty. 10. Stop choosing your seat out of habit. I always sit by the window. I always take the aisle. It sounds like a simple preference. But on a 10 or 12-hour flight, choosing your seat out of habit can make the entire journey harder. If uninterrupted sleep is your priority, a window seat can give you a wall to lean against and fewer people climbing over you. But if you need to get up regularly, that same window seat can leave you trapped every time you want to move. An aisle seat gives you much easier access to the bathroom and the cabin, but now you're closer to passing passengers, service carts, and other activity. And don't forget the seats near lavatories and galleys. They may look convenient, but convenience doesn't always mean peace and quiet. So instead of asking, "What's the best seat on the plane?" ask yourself, "What's the biggest problem I need my seat to solve?" If you value quiet, prioritize a less busy area. If movement matters most, consider the aisle. If sleep is your priority, the window may work better. The best airplane seat isn't universal. It's the seat that works best for you. 9. Stop putting your comfort items overhead. This is one of those mistakes that seems completely harmless at the beginning of a flight. At hour 1, you barely notice it. But by hour 7, you may wish you had planned differently. The cabin gets cold, and your sweater is trapped overhead. Your lips get dry, but your lip balm is buried in your bag. Your headphones are out of reach. And suddenly, even getting a drink becomes an inconvenience because your water is somewhere above your head. That's why it's worth creating a small personal comfort zone before takeoff. Keep the essentials you'll need during the flight somewhere you can safely reach them without repeatedly opening the overhead bin. Think about a light sweater or scarf, comfortable footwear, glasses, headphones, water, tissues, and any essential medication you need to keep accessible. The goal isn't to bring more things. It's to put the right things in the right place. Because on a long-haul flight, small inconveniences can become surprisingly frustrating. So don't spend 10 hours searching for the things that could have been within reach from the beginning. 8. Stop waiting until your legs hurt to move. Here's how this usually happens. Hour 1, you're comfortable. Hour 3, your knees feel slightly stiff. Hour 5, you're barely thinking about your legs. Hour 7, your shoes feel tighter. Then, near the end of the flight, you finally stand up. And suddenly, those first few steps feel much harder than they should. Long periods of sitting can increase the risk of blood clots for some travelers, which is why movement during long-distance travel matters for more than just comfort. When it's safe to do so and the seatbelt sign is off, get up and walk occasionally. While you're seated, you can also move your feet and ankles, change positions, and gently contract and release your calf muscles. If you have medical conditions or other risk factors that make long-distance travel a concern, talk with a healthcare professional before your trip about appropriate precautions. The important thing is not to wait until discomfort becomes your signal to move. On a long flight, staying mobile is much easier than trying to undo hours of sitting afterward. 7. Stop using coffee to fight every wave of fatigue. You're tired, so you drink coffee. A few hours later, you're tired again, so you have another one. Then the cabin lights go down, you're exhausted, and somehow, you still can't sleep. Caffeine isn't necessarily the problem. The timing can be. The same idea applies to alcohol. Some passengers have a drink because they want to relax, hoping it will make falling asleep easier. But the goal of a long flight isn't simply to make yourself unconscious until landing. It's to arrive feeling as functional and refreshed as possible. That's why it helps to think about caffeine in relation to your destination time. If you're approaching the period when you want to sleep, repeatedly adding caffeine may work against that plan. And instead of relying on coffee or alcohol to manage every moment of fatigue, make water your default drink throughout the flight. You don't have to completely give up the things you enjoy. Just make sure your drink choices aren't quietly working against your sleep schedule. 6. Stop letting the meal cart control your schedule. The meal cart arrives. Food appears. And suddenly, many passengers think, I guess it's time to eat. But the airline's meal schedule isn't necessarily the same as your body's schedule, especially during an overnight or long-haul flight. You might eat a large meal, have a caffeinated drink, finish dessert, and then expect your body to immediately switch into sleep mode. Sometimes the problem isn't what you're eating. It's when you're eating it. If you're hungry, eat. But if you're preparing to sleep, think about what will feel comfortable for you rather than automatically treating the entire meal tray like an obligation. And if caffeine tends to interfere with your sleep, be careful about drinks served with or after the meal. The airline controls when the cart comes through the cabin, but you still control what you eat, what you drink, and how those choices fit into your sleep plan. Because on a long flight, the meal schedule shouldn't be the thing deciding when your body rests. 5. Stop letting the cabin lights decide when you sleep. This is one of the biggest mistakes passengers make on international flights. The cabin lights turn off. Everyone closes their window shades. And you immediately think, okay, time to sleep. But there's a problem. Your destination might still be wide awake. The airplane is following its own schedule, but your body is trying to adjust to a completely different time zone. That's why one simple trick can help. When you board, consider switching your phone or watch to your destination's local time. Then ask yourself, if I were already there, would I be sleeping right now? If the answer is yes, protect that sleep window. If the answer is no, staying awake may help you begin adjusting to the destination schedule. The goal isn't to sleep for as many hours as possible during the flight. It's to sleep at a time that makes sense for where you're going. Because when it comes to long-haul travel, more sleep isn't always better sleep. Sometimes, the timing matters just as much. 4. Stop thinking a neck pillow is a sleep plan. A neck pillow can be useful, but a neck pillow isn't a sleep strategy. You can have the most comfortable travel pillow on the market and still spend 6 hours staring at a screen. Real airplane sleep is about creating an environment that gives your brain fewer reasons to stay awake. Finish your entertainment. Lower the brightness. Put your phone away. Get comfortable. Use an eye mask if it helps. Try earplugs or calming audio if you prefer. Keep your seatbelt visible over your blanket so you can remain undisturbed when possible. And keep the things you need within easy reach. Most importantly, stop telling yourself you'll watch just one more video or one more movie. Because sometimes the most effective sleep aid on a long flight isn't another gadget. It's removing the stimulation that's keeping your brain switched on. Your airplane seat may never feel like your bed, but you can still create a simple routine that tells your body, the day is over. 3. Stop experimenting with sleep aids on the plane. This is where you need to be especially careful. A long-haul flight is a terrible place to discover how your body reacts to something you've never used before. Maybe someone recommends a sleep aid and says, "Take this. It'll knock you out." So you try it for the first time at 35,000 feet. The problem is, you don't know how you'll react. You could become excessively drowsy, dizzy, confused, or unsteady. And remember, landing isn't the end of the journey. You may still have immigration, baggage claim, customs, a connecting flight, a long car ride, or a hotel check-in. If you're considering medication or supplements to help with sleep while traveling, talk with your healthcare professional before the trip and make sure you understand the possible effects and appropriate timing. And never casually combine sedating substances with alcohol, because there's a big difference between sleeping through a flight and waking up unable to safely function when you land. On a long international journey, the goal isn't simply to sleep. It's to arrive alert enough to handle everything that comes next. 2. Stop ignoring your body's early warning signs. Experienced travelers don't wait until they're completely miserable before doing something about it. They notice the small warning signs first. Your mouth is getting dry? Have some water. Your legs are starting to feel stiff? Change position or move when it's safe. You're getting cold? Put on that layer you kept within reach. Your eyes are tired from the screen? Turn it off for a while. You're exhausted but still forcing yourself to watch another movie? Maybe it's time to stop. None of these sounds dramatic, and that's exactly why people ignore them. They wait until a small discomfort becomes a problem that's much harder to manage. Think of your body like a dashboard. The early warning lights are there to tell you something needs attention. So don't wait until you're completely uncomfortable before responding. Fix the small problem while it's still small, because a little water, a few minutes of movement, or a simple change in position can be much easier than trying to recover after hours of ignoring what your body was telling you. And now we reach the final mistake. It doesn't happen during the flight. It happens after you land. 1. Stop wasting the first hours after landing. You finally land. You make it through immigration. You collect your luggage. You reach your hotel. And you're completely exhausted. So you close the curtains, crawl into bed, and tell yourself you'll just take a quick nap. For hours later, you wake up in the middle of the night, wide awake, and suddenly, your first full day at the destination is already looking difficult. That's why those first few hours after landing matter. Your body clock is trying to adjust to a new environment and a new schedule. If you arrive during the day, appropriate daylight exposure and gentle activity can help reinforce the local schedule. If you arrive at night, protect the darkness and give your body a clear signal that it's time to sleep. And if you absolutely need a nap, try not to let it accidentally become a second night's sleep. Your first day doesn't have to be packed with sightseeing, but it also doesn't have to disappear behind a hotel curtain. Because the real goal of a long-haul flight isn't simply to survive the journey. It's to arrive ready to enjoy the destination. Let's see how many of these 12 mistakes you can remember. Number 12. Boarding without a personal flight kit. Number 11. Boarding the plane already exhausted. Number 10. Choosing your seat out of habit. Number 9. Putting your comfort items in the overhead bin. Number 8. Waiting until your legs hurt before moving. Number 7. Using caffeine to fight every wave of fatigue. Number 6. Letting the meal cart control your schedule. Number 5. Letting the cabin lights decide when you sleep. Number 4. Thinking a neck pillow is a complete sleep strategy. Number 3. Experimenting with sleep aids on the plane. Number 2. Ignoring your body's early warning signs. And finally, number 1, wasting the first hours after landing. Individually, these mistakes may seem small, but put several of them together on a 10 or 12-hour flight, and they can turn a manageable journey into an exhausting one. The good news is that most of them are completely avoidable. Now I want to know which one you're guilty of. Be honest. Is it number 8, waiting too long to move? Number 7, relying on too much coffee? Number 5, sleeping according to the cabin lights? Or number 1, collapsing into the hotel bed as soon as you arrive? Put your number in the comments. And if you're planning a long-haul or international flight soon, share this video with the person traveling with you. Subscribe for more flight tips, airport hacks, travel mistakes, and long-haul travel advice. Because getting to your destination is only half the journey. The real goal is to arrive feeling ready to enjoy it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.